Our guest today is Jim Parkman. This was a huge case. I mean, this was the fourth largest accounting fraud in the history of the United States.
The CEO of HealthSouth, the Fortune 500 healthcare company.
Ferrari Enzo was nearly obliterated in the high-speed crash along the PCH.
Zenvo ST1 50S.
He went from being on the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Only going to make 3 for the United
I'm
States.
Bobby Khan, former exotic car dealer turned #1 FBI's most wanted fugitive.
Generally, when you look at the law, 90% of the time it's against you.
The FBI put a $20,000 reward for information into his arrest.
Bobby Khan scammed super rich customers at a New Jersey car dealership.
Join myself and James Parkman, my attorney and best friend, as we have cars, courts, and conversations.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Parkman and Khan with Jim Parkman and Bobby Khan. I think today's a lighthearted episode. I don't know, Jimmy, if you know this. So the other night I made a post on Parkman and Khan Unleashed. Okay,
I do not know that. I was out of town. Plus, I was busy watching.
Sports.
Yeah, that's it.
Hold on. So let me read this. Somebody sent me this, and it blew my mind. Okay, because this is about homeowners associations. And
okay. Yep, I've got one.
I despise homeowners associations, and I despise the people that are in these things. Okay. So this one really blew my mind. So somebody forwarded me this message that was posted on Instagram. A man shows off an email from his homeowners association where they complained about him having black SUVs parked at his house for a birthday. So let me read the email to you, okay? So it says, "Dear such and such, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to reach out regarding an incident that occurred over the weekend during your birthday party. A few of us in the community couldn't help but notice the arrival of 3 blacked out SUVs, which quite frankly startled and unsettled several of your neighbors. It's really concerning to see such vehicles showing up in our otherwise peaceful, family-oriented neighborhood, especially without any prior notice, as you can imagine. The sight of them raised a lot of questions and caused quite a bit of anxiety. Some residents even thought something more serious was happening. The whole situation, quite honestly, was alarming. We had no idea how to react." I lost it when I read this, okay? Because this guy, whoever sent that email, sounds like he lives in a cave.
Wait a minute. But this is great. This is great.
Yeah, what?
For all the residents out there that are having problem with your neighbors.
Yep.
Get 3-4 people that own black SUVs to come to your house at one time. No. And you'll never hear from the disgruntled neighbor again.
I've got a million
You'll never
questions.
say another word to you.
So who sits there and gets alarmed when they see 3 black SUVs? First off, disclaimer to everybody. And you know, Jimmy, firsthand, since I was 19 years old, I've always had a black Chevy Suburban, a black GMC Yukon XL, or a black Escalade ESV. And then sometimes, like there'd be times where I had 2 or 3 or 4 of these on my. Hey, when you came to visit, what did I pick you up in? A black Denali with tinted windows, right?
Right. That was in Nevada.
Yeah.
Don't come to my house. Don't come to my house in that, okay? I don't want
my whole life,
homeowners association.
I love those SUVs. They're my favorite. I've always had them. I will always, till the day I die. If I had to pick one car for the rest of my life, it would be a black Chevy Suburban with tinted windows.
Okay, now, wait a minute. Why?
It's comfortable. I can tow stuff with it. I can throw all my stuff in it. I can throw a whole family in it and have guests in the thing and be comfortable. And they're reliable.
Bobby Khan, it makes you look badass. That's why you drive the thing, Bobby.
No, because I like big cars. I like big cars, and I like my cars to be black. And I like tinted windows because I like my privacy. And
you're right.
When listen, all these little these little Euro trash SUVs out there, I don't want to sit in an SUV where I'm like this, okay? Now, I've owned Cayenne Turbos, I've owned Mercedes, I've had G-Wagons, and I'm like, I don't want to be like this. I can be in a Yukon or a Suburban like this and not be up like this with my passenger. I can look in the back and I have 7 people in my truck plus cargo, and I could be towing a boat. I'm totally fine. So if you get alarmed because you saw 3 SUVs in your neighborhood, you have problems. And I don't like therapists, but I'm going to recommend therapy. I mean,
Well, first of all, the homeowner should have sent a letter back and said, I couldn't tell you what was going on, but it was the President of the United States and his entourage. But I couldn't tell you because we can't let that information out.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you for your note. Have a nice day.
No, like I wouldn't even know how to respond to such an idiotic statement. Okay. So
I
now,
just gave it to you.
I mean, like, first off, I would look at this person and say, what kind of sheltered life are you living? First off, there's black SUVs up and down the road. This is the most popular SUV that General Motors sells when all the other factories are struggling. The factory in Arlington, Texas is producing cars nonstop because, hey, the Chevy Suburban is such a popular car. It is the only car that has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You can't move 10 feet on a highway without seeing a Suburban. And you're afraid of it? You're petrified? I mean, this guy's probably driving a Prius. And he's wearing Dockers and a khaki, and he probably has his kids comb his hair. I mean, the stereotypes that go through my mind are whatever. So
You're right. It's the stereotype, and that's
God.
what's funny. And listen, what's funny about it? It was the car. It wasn't who got out of the car.
It was the car that scared you.
It was the car, not the person driving it.
I mean, if you want scary cars, I've had some scary cars that will really scare you. But
that black SUV will scare you.
But you know what? Have you had any experiences with an HOA?
I live with one, but
Okay.
I have not received. I've had friends who received their letters from them about different things. You know, you need to mow your yard. You need to do this. You need to do that.
Okay.
But no.
So, I never will. Okay, I'm going to tell you my experiences because I don't like HOAs. I don't like the people running HOAs. And I'm going to, the one thing I will always tell people on this channel is I'm never going to try to be fake. Meaning, I'm not going to ever come off to be like, I don't want people to think I'm this nice guy, that they have to love me, and I'm looking for a fan base and stuff like that. No, I'm Bobby Khan. I am the way I am. And I go, and I will tell you, listen, I'm a very blunt person. I was born and raised, not born in New Jersey, but I was raised in New Jersey, in New York area. So it's the culture, the people around me that made me who I am. And I'm never going to apologize for it. So I lived in an HOA. And I obviously, as you know, had a lot of cars. So on my driveway at any given times, there'd be like maybe one or two Lamborghinis, like a Murcielago and an Aventador, a couple Rolls Royces, a couple Ferraris, and a couple Bentleys. And then obviously I'd have two Denalis or two Suburbans and maybe like a Hummer, whatever else. So there was, at any given time, there was about 10 to 12 cars on my driveway, okay? And I had the corner house, and it was one of the biggest houses on the block. So it was people would drive into our neighborhood just to take pictures of the cars. And, it was like, yes, I get that part became a nuisance for people because because you don't see driveways with, a couple $1 million worth of cars sitting outside. But that was my business. I sold cars. And on the weekends, I drove cars. So there was a lot of times that, cars were sitting there because I forgot to take them to the dealership, whatever, a million reasons. So I had a Carrera GT for the longest time. And I don't know if you know what Carrera GT is. Carrera GT,
Oh, yeah.
1,200 of these cars. It's a $500,000 car, but it's got very low to the ground. And you really have to map out where you're going to go, how you're going to go, because if you can't have bumps in the road, you can't have this. So my neighborhood had two entrances, and the entrance closest to my house had a dip. So I couldn't pull in cars that were lower. So I would always drive in through the second entrance. And so the Carrera GT is a very loud car. It sounds like a street bike on steroids. The other car that I had I had for a long time was a Murcielago LP640 Roadster. And this thing was park wall. Okay, so it was loud. It had green painted calipers, it had a green leather interior. I mean, this was in your face. But what I did was I took the original exhaust off, which was already loud. If you know a Murcielago, it's a very loud car. And I put an Albertoni exhaust with 4 quad pipes out the back, okay? And I took the cats off of it. So this thing, you could hear a mile down the road. And so my wife and I go out to dinner. I come in like, 2 o'clock in the morning from the casinos. And when I would come in, I would drive slow, but the car was just so loud, you'd hear it. So one day, one of the neighbors comes knocking. I get a knock on the door, and it's the head of the association. And he says to me, he goes, and my old driver. So he says, knock on the door, and he says, we had a meeting last week at the association, and we were talking about you guys. Well, hold on. Why are you talking about me? And I open the door, and I have one of my drivers, and I had another guy, and this one other guy, slicked hair, 6'3", big guy, right? Typical Italian-looking guy. The other guy is about, 200 pounds, slicked hair, and then me, I'm in a 3-piece suit, slicked hair, black, So now you're at my front door, and you're telling me you're talking about me in an association. There's a bunch of people talking about me. So why are you talking about me? He goes, well, you have way too many cars. I said, when the hell's that a crime? And I said, hold on. So I look outside, and when you come out, I'm a nice guy until you come at me. So I looked at him. I said, hold on. You guys are complaining because I have too many cars. I said, my cars make this neighborhood look good. I said, that's a Lambo. That's a Rolls. That's this. I said, oh, I know why. And now, obviously, because if you come after me, I go for the jugular. I don't care. My job is to hurt you, right? So I said, I know what the problem is. I said, so what happens is when all your wives drive past my house every day, and then when you guys are in bed with them at night, they're thinking about the young guy with the nice cars and not you in your minivan. Now, I looked at him and I said, listen, either you're going to get off my property or these guys are going to escort you off the property. And I said, I don't want to ever hear from you again. So now I'm heated. So I'm standing outside, and, I always had a tendency to be in my driveway. I'm doing something, whatever not. So that afternoon, just happens to be 2 of my brothers are there. And guess what my brothers are wearing? They're in 2 black suits. Both of them, okay? And we have the black SUVs parked right off the street. They're in the street now. And obviously, I had one of the cars open. So I see this guy get in his minivan, and he's driving out, and it's him and his wife. And so I went like this. I stopped him. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm a little heated right now. I said, I didn't like the way you came at me. I said, I hope we don't have any more problems because these cars are not going away. And he just looked at me, and he looked at everybody around, and he said, no problems. You'll never hear from us again, right? I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. So then, about a month later, I'm outside, and I'm washing the Lamborghini, and there's these 2 women that are out for a jog. And the one woman stops, and she happened to be a local prosecutor. And she says, why don't you use your own entrance? Why do you have to drive your car past my house? Excuse me? Who are you? So I lost it. I said, I don't know who the hell you think you are coming to me like this. But I said, don't ever tell me what to do. I said, you might beat your husband at home. But I said, don't talk to me. I said, I will drive past your house whenever I want, however I want, as many times as I want, because there's nothing that says I can't. So you know what I did that weekend? I had 2 18-wheelers. I loaded them up with cars, and I told the drivers, I said, bring the trucks. It was July 4th weekend. I said, I want you to bring the cars. And I said, we're going to unload some cars. We're going to swap the driveway around. Okay? No, this wasn't July 4th weekend. This is a couple weeks before the July 4th weekend. So now we have 2 18-wheelers that are all blacked out, enclosed. They pulled up to the street in 2 o'clock in the morning. And inside these trucks are Lambos, Ferraris, all kinds of cars. And I told them, I said, get in there and start each and every one of these cars. So now when you start an exotic car inside of a closed area, you know how loud it is. Imagine 10 cars in 2 trucks, 20 cars, started them all up. And all of a sudden you see lights light up in the entire neighborhood, right? So I would do this like every week to them. I started like just driving them nuts. Then, now I'm like really trying to push the envelope. So what I did was July 4th weekend, I brought the 2 trucks down. Now these things were 100 feet nose to tail because they had the extended cab, the whole 9 yards. I told the drivers, just park the trucks outside in front of my house and leave. Now you have 200 feet worth of trucks parked outside in the entrance of the development. They call the cops because now no one besides me can leave the neighborhood or come into the neighborhood. So the cops know me, and the cops are like, Bobby, he goes, you got to move these trucks. I said, well, The drivers are gone. I said, I paid for their trip, and they're going to spend a weekend away, and they got the keys. So I said, unless you can move these trucks are not moving till Tuesday morning. He's like, it's Saturday. These people have people coming over. I said, well, again, I don't know what to tell you. Right? So I drove them nuts. Finally, the one guy came to me, and he said, listen, Bobby, we give up. We don't want any association fees. We don't want to be bothered. Just stop with the theatrics. We know what you're doing. We don't want to be bothered. I said, okay. Never again. Didn't bother him again.
Bobby, right now, I sent a text message while you were going through this story that I've heard to one of my secretaries, and they are buying you a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that will be coming to you in the mail soon. There's,
But
when you left that neighborhood, I bet you that was the biggest party they ever had.
Oh, so let me tell you about those neighbors, okay? So I happened to be at the Mercedes dealer one day picking up a car, and the owner of the Mercedes dealership says to me, he goes, you see that person over there? I said, yeah. He goes, that's your neighbor. He goes, your neighbors think you're a gangster. I said, excuse me? He goes, yeah. He goes, I was just telling her that I got to go see my friend, and she said, that guy over there? Oh, he lives in my development. He's some kind of gangster. I said, what makes you go? He goes, I don't know. He goes, but for some reason, your neighbors think you're a gangster. I'm like, I'm not a gangster. What are you talking about? He goes, they all think this, right? So they all made these assumptions because, A, I'm not the one that moves into a neighborhood and waves. I'm not waving to my neighbor. I don't talk to my neighbor. Don't come to my house for sugar. Don't invite me to your block party or your Halloween party. I don't want to be bothered. My home is my sanctuary. I don't need you trying to look into my backyard. I don't need you to know what I do for a living, how I do it. That's just the kind of person I am. And so when obviously I was gone, it was a relief for them. Like, the guy's gone. The bad guy's gone.
Well, you're right. Now, let's get to the moral of the story.
Homeowners associations.
No, yeah. But the moral is bigger than the homeowner association. Here's the moral to the story. Where did this take place? Where the SUVs came?
Oh, I have no idea. It looks like it was Florida or something.
Florida? Okay. All right. So here's what I want to say. People, through the years and, talk bad about Alabama. But what I think is interesting about this story goes to show you about people in Alabama and how we don't jump to conclusions. Years ago, we had this young guy come down to a small country town in Alabama in a black Rolls Royce, wearing a black suit, black tie, black shirt.
No, I don't wear black suits or black shirts.
This is my story. My story. Hair slicked back, get out, and not one single neighbor calls anybody or says a word.
No, they just put me in jail for 11 months.
They don't care. They
put me in jail for 11 months. I got pulled over.
No. That wasn't by how you looked or what you drove. No.
Yeah,
that was because of what you made her mad.
Yeah, I made her mad. But the first time I got to Alabama in that black Rolls Royce, in the black suit with the white dress shirt,
right?
I got pulled over right in Dothan, in that circle, right by Charlie's. I got pulled over. I'm like, we weren't even speeding. And I'm like, why am I getting pulled over? Because it was a black Rolls Royce with New Jersey plates on it.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to know. See, you're missing the point here.
They wanted to know what I was doing here.
No, they wanted to help you if you needed directions.
Oh, that's what it was.
You don't get it. You say you go the opposite way, half glass full.
Yeah, okay.
We're just friendly people. We want to know if you're lost.
Okay, all right. I see how it happened. It was the welcoming committee in Alabama. They just have lights on their cars.
Blue.
Yes.
I mean, we don't even do red. We do blue.
How do you recommend dealing with a homeowners association? Like, hey, first off, they have to be banned at this point in this day and age.
Well, let me tell you how I would recommend. For those of you who are listening, don't do Bobby Khan's way.
No.
Okay? Do not do his way. The best way to deal with a homeowner association is do it in a friendly manner. Okay? Try to rectify whatever the problem is. All right? What Bobby fails to tell you,
But they're overzealous.
some of them are. You're
Yeah.
right. But if you're coming into my neighborhood driving that Murcielago with the new package on it, and you come by at 2:00 in the morning, Jimmy's not going to be happy. Okay,
Well, where am I supposed to live then? Right? Like, am I supposed to not live there because I have a nice car that's loud?
No, just don't drive it at 2:00 in the morning. Take your Rolls Royce that you got parked out in the.
So now I have to work. I thought this was a free country.
Well, it is in certain places, but not with Jimmy. It isn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Listen. Here's my advice: don't buy a house or rent a house in an HOA. Don't deal with them. I can't deal with them. I don't adhere. I don't like people telling me how I should live, where I should live, how I should do things. That's my home. That's my piece of property. I should be able to live and do what I want. I should be able to park what I want out there. And yes, I'm not sitting there saying, grow your lawn up to here. I'm not sitting there saying, paint your house yellow and red, like, McDonald's. Yes, there's certain rules and regulations that, you're like, okay, I want my neat and clean. It has to be, don't be crazy. But if the guy's got an SUV outside, 3 SUVs parked outside, come on, ease up.
Oh, well, I was joking about this.
Yep. Oh, no, exactly.
But homeowners associations, I don't want them all mad at me, but first of all, they do serve a purpose. First of all, some people have to live in a gated community.
Yeah.
Let's take the Detroit Lions football coach. He got ratted out, about where he lived, and people started doing things.
Yeah, people come to his house and stuff.
Drying and calling, saying plumbers go over to his house. And all right, so he had to move to probably a gated, I don't know where he's living, don't care. But he probably had to move to a gated community and tell the people at the gate, don't let anybody in to come to my house unless I tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that saves him and his family, and there are probably other reasons, for safety purposes or whatever, So, they do. And of course, HOA's got to run that. An individual can't run it because they got to pay the guards and they got to pay for the upkeep and,
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's
so,
like too overzealous. They just right. I feel like the people that run it are like on some power trip. I mean, like there's something lacking in their life, so they make up for it with this power trip. It's almost like prosecutors.
Yeah, well, it may be, but let's don't jumble everybody into one. Okay.
Oh, of course.
Into one. I mean, there's some nice people, that and probably, I hate to say it, Bobby, but the guy at least came over to your house and knocked on the door and, didn't send you
a letter.
Yeah, with blood on it or anything, just, or shoot it through your window with an arrow. I mean, at least he knocked on the door and say, hey, he was man enough to come over there and say, hey, man, hey. And then you.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And
I was cordial.
Until when?
Listen, I didn't say anything.
I know.
I didn't raise my voice. All I said to him is, you can leave or these men will escort you off my property. And then I hope we don't have a problem. That's the only things I said. If we ever have a block party in our neighborhood, I'm going to call you to come down, and you're going to find out that it's a lot of fun. Okay, it's not all. But here's the thing: I don't do parties. I hate parties. I mean, like I like to have certain people that I like. Like for example, when you guys were here and hanging out in the backyard, that's fine. I'm okay. But I like you. I like Joy. I like JR. I like Liz. That's good. But I don't need a bunch of people I don't know. Well, yeah, that's why you go to these parties, is to meet people. And that's where they go, what do you do? And you go, I sell Ferraris. So the guy goes, I've always wanted one. Can I come down? You never sell your neighbor a car. You never sell your neighbor a car because now you got to live with the guy. And every time there's a problem, he's going to come knocking on your door. And I don't need that. This is my home. This is my sanctuary. I don't need you to come in and say, oh, my Ferrari doesn't run. It's a Ferrari. You should expect it not to run. Anyways, I think we're going a little over today. Please don't ever move in my neighborhood. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, we got a really good one episode, and then for today, one more coming up. I really want your thoughts on it, okay?
Okay.
So, anyways, well, thanks for watching, everybody. Watch the other episodes. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
And pay your homeowner dues.
Yeah, and follow us on our new Instagram page, Parkman and Khan Unleashed.
Yeah.
And obviously, attorney Jim Parkman. Go follow him there, too.
Good to see you, Bobby.
All right, guys. Be good.
Bye.